So, I gotta start this review off with a story. And yes, this is an IEM review, and I'm reviewing this is the periodic audio carbons, and I'll explain a little bit more about that soon, here in a minute. But starting off with my story. So about a month ago, a little bit less now actually of the time of this recording, but about a month ago, I went to a show called Rocky Mountain Audio Fest. And basically what that is it's a trade show for high-end audio equipment. And I mean high-end, $3,000 headphones, and I'm not kidding. $3,000 headphones, $2,000 IEMs, thousands of dollars worth of amps, DACs, player, just across the board, an incredibly expensive show. That I spent a good about 7 hours there that day, and I spent my time listening to just about every high-end IEM and over-ear headphone that you can think of. Probably brands you possibly may not have even heard of, but I was very wide-eyed going there because I've heard a lot of headphones, a ton of headphones, but I've never really quite heard anything that expensive. My pockets are nowhere near that deep, and there's not really any chance of me buying anything like that anytime soon. So I was really expecting my socks to get blown off. And the very first place that I went to, I'm sorry if this is getting long, but the very first place I went to was the Jerry Harvey audio booth. And the very first IEMs I listened to were the Laylas. Those are fantastic. The problem is, I don't know if it's a problem, but for me, the problem is they're almost $3,000. They're right around the $2,800 neighborhood. So they are incredibly expensive, which in the same token kind of makes you think that, yeah, they probably should sound pretty damn amazing. I went to a bunch of other booths, listened to a bunch of other products, and all these IEMs that I've listened to, I would say probably really close to 2 dozen within a 7-hour period. They were all, I think, except for one, but they were all over that $1,000 mark, or really, really damn close, really close. And some of them were not good for me, anyways. For other people, they may be perfect, but for me and my ears, I didn't really care for them. They were too bright, or whatever. The Laylas were fantastic, though, I will say that. But out of the sea of, $1,000 and $2,000 IEMs, the two that I walked away the very, very most impressed with were the Laylas, which are $2,800 or something right around there, and these. These are the periodic audio carbons. Now, a couple of the reasons why these stood out to me, besides the sound, which I promise you I will get to. A couple of reasons why these stood out to me. Number one, every single booth there, I don't care who was showing, every single booth there, their IEMs were paired with some of the most expensive DACs and amps that I've ever had the pleasure of getting my hands on, which is perfectly fine. You got your high-end IEMs, $2,000-$3,000 IEMs. You want them to sound as best as humanly possible. So it makes sense. I totally get it. No big deal. Then I get to the periodic audio booth, and it's a very, very simple booth, which fits me because I'm a very simple guy. But it's a very simple booth, and he has and I spoke with Dan, and he, I believe, is a co-founder of Periodic Audio, but he had his IEMs, and he has 4 different pairs of IEMs, and he has them all hooked up to a Kindle Fire tablet. Not to a $2,000 DAC or anything like that. A Kindle Fire tablet. Which kind of threw me for a loop a little bit. I mean, I'm listening to all these different IEMs, and every single one of them has, $2,000, $3,000 rig set up. And I sat down with Dan, and he told me, he said that he makes his IEMs, he wants them to sound great on anything you listen to him on. So that's why he had everything set up the way he did. And I listened to everything he had. I'll kind of explain how he has his thing set up, and I'll link his video at least to the carbons in my video description, so that, because he explains a hell of a lot better than I'm going to be able to. But like I said, he has 4 different IEMs. They have 4 different IEMs: a magnesium, titanium, beryllium, and of course carbon. The biggest difference between each of them is the diaphragm is made with whatever it is that I named off. So, you know, his cheapest pair, the magnesiums, are $100. Then it goes into the titaniums, which are 2, berylliums are 3, and then the carbons are $400. And then the way you can tell is the cap on the back of the IEM is different colors. I will say that every single one of them, you can tell a difference in sound in every single one of them that he has. They were all lined up. I literally listened to them one after another. These ones, the carbons, they obviously, yeah, they're his most expensive. But the carbon, the diaphragm in this is actually made with a lab-grown diamond. Absolutely insane to think about, but it is a lab-grown, in their lab, a lab-grown diamond that they use for the diaphragm. And then that's what gives it the sound. I listened to a few different songs with each IEM, the same songs. Really, the 2 big ones were This Land by Gary Clark Jr. and At Last by Etta James. Same songs across each of the 4 pairs of IEMs. I listened to them with and without the amp, or the DAC that he has. Without the DAC, these literally, okay, not literally, but these blew my socks off. They sound fantastic. I'll get more into that in a minute. But then when I paired them with the DAC, I literally, when Etta James was singing, I literally got chills. I haven't heard that in a long time from headphones, and these did it. I kid you not. And I obviously already have the IEMs out, but you get a bag's worth of tips. Now these tips are all made in-house at Periodic Audio, but you got your standard stuff. You got your small, medium, and large, single flange, dual flange, and then they give you some memory foam, and the memory foam ones are the ones that worked out the best for me. But however, whatever fits your ear, but make sure you get a good seal on these, as with any other in-ear monitors that you may choose. You also get an adapter, and then I can get this. Nope, there's something else in there. Sorry, I almost forgot about this. And you also get a plain adapter. You also get this nifty little tin with the Periodic logo on the front of it. And this is made to, obviously, to carry your IEMs. And I actually like that. It's different. Most of the time, if you get a case, not all of these people give you cases, but if you do, most of the time it's a little carry pouch, and that's generally pretty cool. But a nice, hard, protective case is nice, especially for your $400 earphones. Now, getting onto the build quality of these. The cord annoys me because it can get easily tangled. I don't know how well you can see that, but it does. It gets fairly easily tangled, and it, to me, is fairly annoying. To tell the left and right, there's no L&R or anything like that anywhere on here. On the inside, the right one is red, and then the left one is black. So that's how you can tell between right and left. Now, in theory, this works out really, really well. Why? Because you just look at your IEMs and you can tell which is which is fantastic. The problem that I have with it, though, the only problem I have with it, is when I'm listening in the dark. If I'm in the dark, which I like to listen to music when I go to bed. When I go to bed, obviously it's dark in my room. So I have to get out my phone, point the light into there, and then figure out which one is red and which one's black. It's an annoyance for me. It might not be for you, but that is something that I've come up with. That's really the only complaint I have as far as build quality goes, besides the cord. Let's get into the audio quality. I honestly, I could probably make this part really, really short. And then the reason why is these sound absolutely fantastic. These and the Jerry Harvey Laylas, out of all the couple dozen or so IEMs that I listened to that day, were the two best ones there. I actually circled back around and went back and spoke with Dan after I listened to these, and after I had listened to a handful other IEMs, and I told Dan, I think word for word was, I hate you. You have ruined every other set of IEMs in this place. These are my absolute favorite IEMs that I have heard and that I have ever owned. These are fan-freaking-tastic. They get incredibly great extension in the bass. The mids are absolutely excellent. They are clear, they're detailed. The bass doesn't overrun into the mids. The highs are incredibly clear. Now, that is a hard place for me because I love my audio to be clear in my earbuds, my IEMs, whatever. I love it to be clear, but there's a certain point that I can't go past. And then it gets piercing and hurts my ears, and I don't want to wear them anymore because I don't want to listen to the music anymore because it hurts. These never get there. These will run the gamut of whatever music you listen to. Do yourself a favor and go out and get the periodic audio carbons. I guarantee you, you won't be disappointed. I know $400 is not cheap by any means. These, without a doubt, are worth every single penny that you will spend on them. I haven't been this impressed with a pair of IEMs in a very, very long time. All right, guys, that is my review of the periodic audio carbons. I'm out.